Mike Williams here, White Label Consulting. How you doing? Let me turn on my lower thirds. I am trying to get almost to the point where I don't have to do too much editing on this, but hey, we're gonna try to figure all this out. This is gonna be a pretty weird tutorial. I had a video that talked about creating a SUPERSOURCE. Stop. Custom, that's the brand. Right now, everything is 35% off. That's the sponsor of the show. Yeah, just go visit. There's a whole bunch of clothes on there and stuff. I think we got like 16, 17 items in various colors. So if you want to support the broadcast, support the channel, that's how we, that's what we do. So custom, check that out. So back to the show. I did a tutorial here on I want to say 3-4 months ago about how to do a SUPERSOURCE with your ATEM Mini. And let me look at my videos real quick. I don't know what it was. It was because of the ATEM update, and the 9.5 came out and it allowed you to change the I'm going to see here. It allows you to change the output of the webcam for the USB so that you could have that you change the webcam output. So when you change the webcam output, instead of it being just one source or another, and if you don't have the Pro ISO or anything, basically this is more an update for the versions that are above the basic model. But anyways, the webcam output allows you to create a couple different sources. And so I did a tutorial here and I had a question. I think there's a question here somewhere. Let me see. So we have 4 cameras. Where is it at? Let me see here. Does this work on ATEM Mini as well? You need a Pro. I have the Mini. So this was something that was asked of me. Can you pull up 2 sources on the ATEM Mini? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to, let me see if I switch over to my tutorial screen. I actually opened up the ATEM Mini software and I started playing around with some of these buttons here on the actual device, right? So there's a couple of different buttons here that you can play with. There is your pattern overlay and there is your DVE, which is apparently is for use for transitions. I'm discovering that if you just turn on the DVE, and let me go back to my live broadcast. I'm gonna go back to live broadcast and I'm gonna hit the DVE button, right? I'm just gonna turn it on and you will see that I have a source that pops up on top of my program feed. Now I have 2 cameras in play right now. I have this camera over here to my right, which is my GH4. This is my G7. This is my GH4. I did put the better lens on this camera, 25mm down to f1.7. I think I got them both set to 1.8 right now. But if I switch over to camera 4 and then turn the DVE on, which is on the picture-in-picture function, I get 2 sources right there, right? So now I was wondering, if I play with this, can I create the same thing? Now this feature is available on the ATEM Mini, so you don't even need the ATEM Mini Pro to get 2 sources, right? So I'm kind of figuring out, if I turn this on, let's see what happens if I turn this on, right? And then there is underneath, and there's going to be a hard way for me to show you how to do it, so I guess I'm gonna have to screen record this, right? Let me see if I can source record this real quick. I'm gonna record this later. Actually, I'm gonna walk through it. But if I change the position, right, of this DVE and move it over here to the left, and then I can increase the size, right? So I'm still at the field source, right? So I'm increasing this size right here. This is starting to look like something I want to do. Now, obviously we have a problem because we have camera 1 is overlapping camera 2. But if there's a window below camera, the DVE settings called mask, I actually can crop in the camera settings to get rid of some of camera 1. right? So now I'm just clicking on 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 looks around right, but let's go 9. Okay, 9. So now I have 2 sources up. This is just by hitting the DVE button, right? But I'm really not set with that. I want this to look a little better. Then below the mask, I actually have a border button. Wow, I can actually turn on a border and change the color to whatever I want. So let's change this to yellow. So while I'm doing this live on the spot, I'm going to go back up to the mask and I'm going to change the mask to 8.5 and see what that gives me. 8.5, enter, and that's more in the middle. So if I want to turn this off, I simply turn off the picture-in-picture button on my ATEM off. I switch back to camera 1, switch back to camera 4 or 3 or whatever you have, and then switch back to this camera over here. But if I had a guest who was on camera 1, which would probably be the main guest, and just turn on the picture-in-picture button, now I have 2 sources. I'm just trying to figure out why nobody has talked about this in the years the ATEM Mini has been out for years. Nobody has said anything. I looked on YouTube and see why couldn't nobody come up with a way to do split camera 2 sources out of one ATEM, because you actually have 2 sources. Now the drawback is that you cannot, if I hit cut and switch, then obviously I can only pick one fill source, right? So I'm going to turn this off and walk back through what we just did. And I'm going to actually, let me see if I can remember, 90181818. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to actually go back into my split screen. Let's go into the tutorial real quick. So this is my ATEM Mini, and right now I'm going to switch to camera 1 so you can actually see my face. Right here is where you turn the DVE on, and how to turn that on air is actually to hit this button right here, on. And right now you see the split. Actually, let me see if I can do it. Nah, we'll leave it like that. You just use this button right here, split transition. On air. Right here, this is your picture-in-picture, and that gives you your 2 camera sources. Now, all I did here is all of this. I'm going to click on this button right here, and I'm going to click on Reset All so that it all stays the same. I changed this position to -9, and I made the size. Oops, let me go here. I made the size 1. And I cropped into 8.5 on the right side, and that gave me, when I turn it back on, let me see if it gave me, that gave me exactly what I needed. Let me go to live broadcast, let me turn it back on. Yeah, that's pretty much it, because if I switch over to camera 4, that's both my sources. I really don't like the border at the top and the bottom, so I think I'm gonna go to size and make it just a little bigger, just so but this is essentially 2 sources, 1 camera. I just figured this out, so I figured I'd make a video about it. So I'm gonna edit this, play around with it a little bit more, but I'm going to just figure out why nobody came up with this. Like, I'm gonna turn this off, and I don't know, let me talk over here. Yeah, it wasn't super difficult, but yeah, I guess you can do 2 sources with the ATEM basic, the ATEM Mini, the basic model. I mean, it's on sale for a couple $100s now if you go to retailers. So I guess if you're trying to start a podcast and a live stream, that's actually a good thing to do, because you can actually switch to camera 4, turn on 2 scenes. So if I have 2 podcasts here, I think the one thing you have to do is you have to watch where you're at on the camera. Let me turn this off, because on this camera I could be in the middle and crop camera 1, right? Because that's what my fill source is. When I pick my fill source here, let me go there's a fill source that I have to pick. I have to pick camera 1. I mean, if I pick camera 4 and I go back to, let me go back to live broadcast, and I turn it on now, then I would have to move everything, and you can't really move the live camera, at least not in the way that I figured out. So I'm going to make camera 1 the fill scene. Then when I do it, it looks a little better. Oh, let me switch cameras. Yeah. So I'm switching to my second camera. live. I'm using the live camera as the bottom source, and the fill source I'm using is camera 1. So I'm filling camera 1 on top of this camera, and that's how I'm getting basically two sources. I know it seems super disorganized, but sometimes when you're doing live streaming, like, it's great to put out, you know, content that looks wonderful and looks like it's really edited. But I teach live streaming, and so I kind of plan all this out, and then I do it, and then it looks like it works. So, I mean, review this, give me some questions, you know, talk to me some more. I like putting out some content that's not as edited, only because it allows me to get real interaction from people, and it allows people to actually tell me what they really want to learn about. And so I had a question yesterday about, can you go live on Instagram? And I just made a video of it because somebody else was going to have that question. Wasn't super clean, but it was good enough to make a video about. So, hey, play with your ATEM Mini. Yeah, I guess you can pull up 2 sources. I think you guys should try that. Matter of fact, I think we're going to do a podcast tomorrow and try to figure this out. But that's my video for now. It's kind of weird, but it works. Go through your DVE settings, change these buttons right here, which are your position. Change your position, change your size, make it bigger, adjust your mask to crop out the fill source, which would be camera 1, and add a border. And once you do that, you can play with the color of the border and learn your software, people. Yeah, Michael Williams, White Label Consulting. I'm out.